Hey everybody, we're here with John Nowacki. Last week's episode we talked to him about how he kind of got into the monster truck deal. He started with his street truck, his show, kind of a show truck, mud bogs. John's always working on something, so he's built unbelievable amount of stuff. Now tell us a little bit. You know, a while back I was at an event and you come out with this wheel standing Corvette, and I'm going, where in the world did this thing come from? So it's like a funny car Corvette that's a wheel stander. Tell us about that.
Well, it kind of evolved because back in the day I wanted a dune buggy, so I built a bearing buggy frame, went and bought the frame blade, all the pieces were separate, brought it home well together, but instead of a V-dub I wanted something more power. So I put a Corvair motor and a Corvair transaxle and had 38s on the back of it. So it was quite the buggy, and I kept blowing the spider gears out of the rear end. So after the third time, you get to the point where it's not fun working on your stuff anymore when it keeps breaking like that. So I got rid of the Corvair engine, got rid of the Corvair transaxle, got a transaxle out of a Cadillac Eldorado, which if you've ever seen them at the demolition derbies, guys who go from forward reverse wide open, never blow the transmission or transaxle out. So put the Oldsmobile motor, and then we ran that in the mud. And it actually did pretty good, except nitrous oxide is really hard on Oldsmobile cranks and stock connecting rods. So again, you get tired of working on stuff and changing motors out and that, so I quit doing that. And then a few years back, I decided we're going to get rid of the Oldsmobile and put a 454 Chevy in it. And if you ever do one of these, you don't go to the store and buy parts, they don't fit. There was a lot went into putting that motor into that car, and at that point, I wasn't ever going to run in the mud ever again, so we're going to put the Corvette funny car body on it that I originally built for the car and was going to run, and going to do wheelies with it. And we took it to a couple monster truck shows, and it's quite the machine to drive. You sitting there and you're sitting in the fiberglass oven. You know, you're in a monster truck. You got to open the windows and you're all sealed up inside. So, and you just with your right foot, you get it up on the back tires and you give it. If the front end starts coming down, you put more pedal into it. If it starts going up too high, you take pedal out and try to ride it out and get it up on balance.
It's pretty cool. He was doing wheelies from one end of the track to the other with it, and it's like, man, he's always coming up with something. So now, tell us a little bit more about, you just built a new race truck, so tell us a little bit about that.
That we were wanting to do that for years, and started putting parts together and started working on it. You'd work on it for a while and then lose enthusiasm. We'd go do some other stuff and come back. We finally decided we needed to finish it up this year, so we did. I drove it Memorial Day, right out of the box. It did everything we wanted it to do. I was very, very happy with it. If you've never driven a monster truck before, hitting cars and going over jumps for the first time is quite the enlightening experience.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's there is a misconception, and especially now with the big conglomerate, you know, they're jumping these huge jumps and everything, but I don't think a lot of the fans really comprehend. Especially the old school stuff, they look at that old school stuff and they don't realize the violence inside the truck that some of us witnessed or took. But it's a whole different world running over cars. I mean,
when you hit the cars, you're hitting a wall that's 3 feet tall. That's pretty much a straight up and down wall. You see the guys that are on the other shows they do the dirt jumps and that. Well, those are basically ramps to put the trucks in the air. But you drive up to a set of cars at 20 miles an hour and you put your foot to the floor, 10 foot before you get to that car. When you hit them cars, you're in a car accident. Yeah. You're in a car accident. And the truck eats it up, your body takes it, and you go on to the next one. And it's kind of neat because the harder you hit them, the more you go up in the air and that. There's kind of like a quiet time while you're in the air. And then the landing comes and it hits hard again. But the more you do that, the more you get comfortable in doing it, and you better feel about it. The first time I jumped that truck, I wasn't sure that I wanted to do this anymore.
Yeah.
It hit that hard, was that violent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's what a lot of the fans don't realize. I mean, there's a reason that things evolved like they did, from the leaf springs and the no suspension. I mean, some of them early trucks had no suspension. I remember, there's some fairly big name trucks out there that actually had solid bars welded from the frame to the axles because nobody really thought they needed suspension back in the day. So, you know, it's kind of neat to hear that story because I don't hear that a lot from anybody anymore. You know, it's like everybody's too macho. Oh, I hit everything, but they don't but I mean, that was probably a scary deal. Well, he come out and did a little fair show in 2011. We did the Gas Guzzy shows, and we did a fair tour. And you actually came out and was part of one. We did one close to your home there. And was that one of the first times you crushed cars with Mud Monster? Or?
It was. That was the first time I ran over cars with it, and that wasn't that bad because I said I'm almost embarrassed to this day to watch a video, but I climbed up on the cars a little bit, but then after that, hitting the cars and trying to bounce the tires up in the air, and even with the 5 tons and airbags on a monster truck do not work. They absorb energy at the wrong time, and they get rid of the energy at the wrong time.
Yep.
So you're trying to get the truck up in the air, the airbags are absorbing the energy, so it won't launch the truck in the air, and then at the wrong time, they expand out, and they shock the truck going the other direction, and nobody sees that in the crowd, but that is...
It's violent inside.
Yeah.
The first Overkill truck had it was an early one on the airbags, and it was very high tech at its time, but I remember taking a beating in that truck that was, I wouldn't wish that beating on your worst enemy.
I would probably take the solid strut suspension over airbags in a monster truck, and I would take my chances with the solid struts over that.
Well, and the difference back in the early days is we ran really low air pressure too, and a lot of, now the big companies want everybody to run 20 pounds of air pressure. Well, you can't run a monster truck with 20 pounds of air pressure. To me, it just isn't, I ran 4 pounds a lot of times in war wagon people, and 4 pounds, and because that was half of your suspension. So, you're always building stuff. Now, what do you do for a living? Tell us about your business.
Right now, I'm pretty much retired, and I'm kind of enjoying life a little bit. Been a truck mechanic for many, many years, and that's how I kind of got working on semis and working on heavier equipment and stuff like that. Been in the dump truck business since '93, and I pretty much handed that over to my son Jonathan.
Okay, and Jonathan's been pretty active with a lot of these adventures too. He drives a lot. You've had him driving different things. Actually, that fair show we were just talking about, Jonathan was there with a Suzuki Samurai, and didn't he win the tough truck challenge we had? I mean, he had me nervous because he was running super hard, and I think I told you, hey, you got to settle your boy down.
Yeah, I reined him in.
Because I was worried he was gonna get hurt because that boy didn't have no fear.
Well, they had to run twice that day for the tough truck and the time deal, and he was the first guy out, and he every time he'd drive up before he got to the jump, he'd hit the brakes, slow down, get over the jump, and put the gas and go in. So he had a quick time going around there. He was the last guy to run, and he had the fastest time, so he already had won. So he went out and played airplane with that Geo tracker.
Oh, it was a Geo, yep. I was thinking it was Samurai, but that thing flew.
I think he was in the air higher than monster trucks. I know he was in the air higher.
Yeah, yep, that boy didn't have no fear. But you got him now driving the new truck, right?
I had some health issues last summer, and we put 4th of July, we put him in the driver's seat.
Okay.
And I told him just to go out and be safe and have fun and put it in the air, and he followed my words exactly. As a matter of fact, when he was doing freestyle, he was just about done. He was gonna hit the jump one more time, and the barrel valve shook loose on the injector hat, and it basically shut the truck down and wouldn't start, which is probably a good thing because he told me afterwards. We ran at that show with Alan Pizzo, and his comment was that he was gonna go out and set the bar for Alan. So that's probably a good thing the truck shut off.
Yeah, he'd have got some air under it. No, John's he's basically an artist, and I've been to his house, and it's just unbelievable because he's done stuff that a normal builder would look at and say, you can't do that. But it's so cool because he's kind of an artist, but he's always building stuff. So he's building some crazy deal now. Can you tell us a little bit about it? I know you want to kind of surprise people with it. So
the latest one I'm building now that we call the engine stand.
Okay.
I had bought a V16 Detroit engine years ago and had different plans going to do stuff with it. Been sitting in the shop on blocks of wood, and we had to move it, and that kind of gave me a nudge a little bit again. We're going to make an engine stand for it just so we could start it up and hear it run. On blocks of wood, it would have fallen over and busted the engine stuff off. So we're getting a truck frame with going to have a steer axle underneath it, so we could pick up the other end of the skid loader, at least move it around the shop. Well, I ended up getting a frame and a steer axle, actually a whole truck from another guy that had a bad motor in it, and we're looking at the thing, and the guy just, whatever I didn't want is what he wanted back, and I'm looking at the frame, and it's like, well, why cut a perfectly good drive axle out from underneath this? Let's just put a steering wheel in it. So that's where the engine stands coming along, and it's about like the funny truck got. It started out as not a whole lot, and then it kind of took its own direction to go, and it's hopefully it'll be pretty cool when it's done. It's
so far what I've seen of it, it's pretty radical. The thing ought to be. It'll be most talked about thing at the car shows when you take it to them.
There was a reason we went to the Duesenberg Museum to do research.
Yeah. They went here. They came over here, went to the museum and looked at some Duesenbergs and some old cars to get some ideas. Now tell us about, you've got the top Fuel Beetle. What inspired that? And tell us about that, because that thing's off the hook if you guys haven't seen that.
Well, I like going to car shows too, because it's kind of relaxing. You go there, you can't do anything, and you take a four-wheel drive truck to a car show, they hate you because it's overbearing on their cars and that. So I thought, well, I'm going to build a street rod, and I like drag racing. I still like the mud stuff and the dragsters and that, and I like tractor pulling too. So the Beetle was kind of a little bit, it's got 48-inch floaters on the back and a narrow rear end, and how people tub rear ends, the two tubs. So it's got one tub that goes all the way across because the rear end's so narrow and the tires are so big. And I always wanted to build something with two motors in it. So it's like, well, we're going to figure this out and put two small block Chevys together. My first coupling system ended up going in the trash can. Wasn't quite exactly, I didn't want to work out, and I figured out how to do that. And if you ever get a chance to look at that car, there's quite a bit going on it. It's got air ride suspension on it. The frame is the radiator. The water is forced to flow through the frame, both sides. It goes back up to the wing stand and radiator caps between the wing stand. So it kind of came out pretty cool.
Now, how many gallons of coolant do you have in it? You ever checked?
The frame holds 17 gallons of water.
17, yep. So that works good, and it's a VW body.
Yep.
Now, is it licensed as a VW or?
Yes.
Okay. The thing is super radical, and it does. It reminds you of a two-wheel drive pulling truck, and it reminds you of a dragster. The thing's just super cool. But so, you've been toying around with all this. What's some of your future ideas? What do you think about the industry and the sport and where it's going? You got any ideas or things you'd like to see?
Some of the stuff with Monster Truck, and I've said this for years, and everybody seems like they overcome it. It scares me, some of the stuff they're doing now, and the heights they're getting out of the truck. All it takes is just, for one little thing to go wrong. And there's been a couple times here in the last year or two where a little bit more speed or a little bit more brake in the air, and somebody would have been in a really bad situation. It's still thrilling. I mean, that's why we do this. We don't have any brains in our heads. All of us don't, but I've met some fantastic people and made some great friends that I wouldn't trade for the world.
Yeah, it's definitely a different type of sport and entertainment. John always does something every year at the Hall of Fame that's always been very appreciated by us. He always goes out and buys a helmet, and tell us about that and what inspired that or whatever.
Well, I buy two of them. I buy one that gets raffled off for the auction, and I buy one from my own collection. And I've been to different events, like drag racing or monster truck shows and that. People get T-shirts signed, or they get a hand card signed and that. And the T-shirt gets lost, gets worn, gets thrown away. The hand card gets put in the drawer. And the helmet deal was pretty cool because this is something that you're probably going to keep, and you can get everybody to sign it. It's not just a one signature deal. It's not 10 people on a shirt. And I've got one from the Hall of Fame every year, except the year before that I didn't make it to it. But got some drag racing ones too. Got some World Finals helmets we got signed, and one I'm really proud of is the 50th U.S. Nationals. I've got a helmet that I went around and had all the crew chiefs and all the drivers signed that I could get at the time, and we have fun doing it.
That would be neat. Well, John has been one of my helpers since we started the whole Hall of Fame museum deal, and I always appreciate him. He's always quick to show up for help and doesn't complain. He just gets there and helps do it. I appreciate that from you.
I complain.
But not bad. I mean, we have a lot of fun. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this, getting to know John and some of his projects and different things he's doing. And please like us, follow us, subscribe to us, give us your comments. You know, this has been a lot of fun, I think, trying to learn stuff about people maybe you don't know anything about. But hey, thanks for watching.